Hey there guys, this is Cole. Welcome back to another movie review. Today we are continuing on the Jurassic Park series of movie reviews. And today I'm going to be reviewing the fifth movie in the franchise, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom from 2018, which, like I said, I do own in this 5-movie collection here, which comes with the first 3 Jurassic Park movies and the 2 Jurassic World movies. And as you can see, it even lists all the movies on the back of the cover. So what is the plot to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom from 2018? Well, the plot of the movie is as follows. Owen and Claire return to the ruins of the Jurassic World theme park to rescue the remaining dinosaurs from a looming volcanic explosion. Volcanic extinction, I meant to say. Now, I did like this movie for what it was. Now, if it's not perfect, it has its flaws. Like, was this movie amazing? Was it one of the best sequels ever made? No. But do I think this movie is as bad as some people make it out to be? No. For reasons that, I'll talk about in this review here. But before I get into my thoughts on this movie, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of the movie Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom? And where do you rank it among the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World movies? Please comment down below and let me know. So yeah. So how was Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom received when it came out? Well, the very first movie in the Jurassic Park franchise, Jurassic Park from 1993, was a very well received movie by critics and audiences, and Jurassic Park is considered by audiences and critics to be one of the best movies of all time. The sequels were not as well received. Like I said, when it comes to the Jurassic Park movies, the very first Jurassic Park movie from the 90s is considered one of the greatest movies of all time by critics and audiences. The second and third one received mixed reviews, but then in 2015, Jurassic World came out after the franchise was on a 14-year hiatus, and when Jurassic World came out on June 12, 2015, it was a well-received movie by critics and audiences, and people said that it was the second best Jurassic Park movie behind the first one, Jurassic Park from 1993, which, like I said, Jurassic Park from 1993 is considered one of the greatest movies of all time by critics and audiences, and I agree with that. It's certainly one of my favorite movies. But anyways, with the billion-dollar success that Jurassic World had in 2015, a sequel began production not long after that, and Colin Trevorrow was going to come back, but he decided not to, so they hired J.A. Bayona, who, prior to this, he directed The Orphanage, which is a 2007 Mexican Spanish horror film, which I have seen. That is a good movie. But then after that, he directed a disaster movie in 2012 called The Impossible, which I've not yet seen that movie, but I've heard really good things about it. And then in 2016, he did a movie called A Monster Calls, which I've heard good things about, but I haven't seen that one. But I would like to check that movie out, as it does have Liam Neeson in it, and I do rather like Liam Neeson as an actor. But as for my reaction to the movie, I do like this movie. Again, it's not perfect, it has its problems, but we'll discuss that more so at the end of the review. But without further ado, let's get into my review. So the movie starts off where we are back on the island that Jurassic World was built on, where basically, security is turned up tight on the place, and at the very beginning of the movie, there are 2 scientists in a submarine underwater, and they find the skeleton of the Indominus Rex, the hybrid dinosaur from the previous one. As if you remember, at the end of Jurassic World, the mosasaur jumped out the water and, attacked the Indominus Rex and dragged it underwater. But, so at the beginning of the movie, people in a submarine, they basically find the skeleton remains of the Indominus Rex. And I really like the way this movie's directed, where not long after that, like I said, the 2 scientists in a submarine, they basically find the Indominus Rex skeleton, and they're trying to, examine it, but then We don't see it on screen, but like, but due to lighting, you can tell what happens. Like, I like the part when the two people are in the submarine and we see the shadow of a mosasaur behind them, but then the camera zooms out and the only part that we see now is we basically see the ocean. We basically see the ocean by the reserve and stuff like that, and we see the submarine light, and then the submarine light goes out, meaning the mosasaur ate the submarine. Like, I really like the way that scene's directed. And then one of the workers at Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, I meant, he's trying to close the paddock, so the mosasaur doesn't get in and stuff like that. But like I said, not long after the mosasaur eats the submarine, one of the workers at Jurassic World, they're basically trying to close the gates that, connect to the water by the theme park. That way the mosasaur can't get in. And these people are warning him, hey, there's a T-Rex behind you. The guy eventually notices it, and he runs away from the T-Rex scared like anyone would. And the guy, basically the guy, he had something similar to an iPad, but it was like a touch screen that, like, the touch screen basically is what would close the door. Well, close the doors by the water so the mosasaur can't get in, but, the guy obviously scared by the T-Rex, he drops it when he runs. The T-Rex stomps on it, which, just when the gates are halfway closed, it doesn't work because, well, the T-Rex steps on the iPad, well, more so the touchscreen thing, and the guy starts running away, and then the T-Rex chases him, but then there's like these two military guys in a helicopter that tell him to hurry, but like they have the ladder attached to the helicopter. The guy gets on and he's climbing it, but the T-Rex is just viciously biting it, violently shaking it back and forth, but the bottom half of the ladder snaps off, but the guy makes it, and we think that, oh, this guy's gonna make it out, but then nope, a mosasaur jumps out the water, eats the guy on the ladder, and then, well, goes back in the water. Then the people on the helicopter are in shock at what happened and stuff like that. And then we cut to Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum from the first two movies. He's in this movie at the beginning where he's basically in like a courtroom because people are debating in the movie. Should we try to save the dinosaurs or should we try to kill them and let them go extinct and stuff like that? And then two main characters from the previous movie, Owen Grady, played by Chris Pratt, and Claire, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, they basically team up once again to partake on this journey. And Claire is talking to Owen, and Owen, Owen's like, he's like, look, I don't want anything to do with this, we'll let the dinosaurs die, look, I don't want to do anything about this. But then eventually Claire talks Owen into going back to the island so he can rescue Blue, who, like, if you've seen these movies, you know that Blue is the raptor that he pretty much trained his whole life, and so he basically agrees to go back to the island to save Blue and stuff like that. And then there's a mercenary bad guy that pretty much wants the dinosaurs dead. And there's a part where Owen Grady, played by Chris Pratt, he's trying to calm down Blue, and it's working perfectly at first until one of the military men comes out and shoots Blue with a shoots Blue, which, upsets Owen. He's like, hey, don't do that. And the military men are not listening. They're making the situation worse. And then they eventually shoot Blue. Well, the main leader of the group, military group, mercenary group, whatever you want to call it, shoots Blue with a tranquilizer dart, not killing Blue, but putting her to sleep. And Owen Grady's like, you son of a bee. And like, he's running, charging at him, but then the guy basically takes like a tranquilizer dart, shoots it into the neck, and, well, it passes out. Well, Owen Grady passes out, I meant to say. And in the movie, basically, the bad guys are trying to, the bad guys of the movie are trying to sell dinosaurs to people. Basically, they're trying to sell it for as much as possible. And again, the volcano is about to erupt on the island. You know, like this could lead to the dinosaurs' extinction because of the volcanic eruption, like this could. But in the movie, Owen Grady, played by Chris Pratt, and Claire, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, they have two people tag team with them. And granted, the movie doesn't exactly establish how old these characters are, but I'm guessing these characters are like 18 or maybe slightly older, around that age. But they team up with Owen Grady and Claire to basically save the dinosaurs and stuff like that. And again, this movie does have some really well-directed scenes in it. And I thought that the direction by J.A. Bayona was actually rather well handled in this movie. I like the whole scene in the movie where the volcano erupts. I thought that scene was cool. And then Owen Grady, he's telling Claire and all the other people, run for your lives and stuff like that. And then a bunch of dinosaurs are running away because of the volcanic eruption. I thought that was actually a rather well done scene. Especially when the Brachiosaurus from the very first Jurassic Park movie that Dr. Alan Grant was first introduced to, when Owen Grady, Claire, and all the other characters, they're basically riding away from the island on a boat to safety. But while this is happening, they basically hear the crying moan of the Brachiosaur from the first Jurassic Park movie, and you don't see it on screen. Well, you don't see the whole thing on screen because, well, shadows cover it up, but you get the idea that the Brachiosaurus is going to die because of it, and it's actually a pretty sad scene. And I will say, this movie does have a good cast. You got, like I said, you got Chris Pratt as Owen Grady, you got Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire, and another thing, the main bad guy of the movie is actually played by Ted Levine, which I'm like, okay, that's a bit of an interesting casting choice. For those who don't know, Ted Levine played Buffalo Bill in the 1991 movie Silence of the Lambs, who was basically friends with Hannibal Lecter. So I thought, okay, that was an interesting choice to see that actor in a Jurassic Park movie. It definitely not something I would have expected. Now, granted, at the time I saw this movie, I didn't even know about the movie Silence of the Lambs. I actually did not get around to watching that movie until like about 4 years ago for the movie's 30th anniversary, and I do own Silence of the Lambs on DVD. I think it's a rather good movie. Maybe for October I'll review it, we'll see. But anyways, getting back to the review, yeah. And there's this girl in the movie, there's like this kid who, she has a grandpa and stuff like that, and her dad, and the little girl's dad just so happens to be one of the villains running this operation and stuff like that. And this girl's dad, you know, her grandpa later dies in the movie, but the little girl teams up with Owen Grady and Claire, which I thought, okay, that was a nice little idea there. And I thought that the kid actress actually gave a pretty good performance in the movie. And I like the scene when the guy who, again, he did not kill Owen, but the guy who put Owen to sleep with the tranquilizer dart, yeah, that guy who also put Blue to sleep earlier. I like the part when he decides to, like, you know, use that same type of dart to put the Indoraptor asleep, which the Indoraptor is the main dinosaur villain of the movie, and he tries to pull out the Indoraptor's tooth, you know, thinking that the Indoraptor's asleep, but then the Indoraptor bites the guy's arm off and just swallows it. Pretty intense scene. And I do like the part in this movie where a little earlier on, Owen and Claire, they basically are trying to help Blue because, well, Blue was shot by a gun, like a pistol, and like the bullet is stuck in Blue's stomach. So basically, Owen Grady and Claire, they basically have to get a blood transfusion from a T-Rex. That way they could put the blood in Blue so Blue doesn't bleed to death and basically get the bullet out of her. And I do like the T-Rex blood infusion scene. I think that's a pretty good scene to the movie. And I know some people do not like the design of the Indoraptor. I honestly don't mind it. Again, is it the best dinosaur design ever? No, but Have I seen much worse designs? Absolutely. And then there's the whole finale in the movie where Owen and Claire, they're trying to protect this girl from, they're trying to basically protect this girl from the Indoraptor, which is trying to get her and stuff like that. And I do like the final battle of the movie where the Indoraptor is about to attack Claire and Owen Grady, but then, but keep in mind the house that, not really the house, but like the building they're on top of, the ceiling is made out of glass and part of it breaks, but the Indoraptor is standing on the metal part. But I like the part when the Velociraptor Blue that Owen Grady trained from the previous movie. I like the part when Blue basically jumps behind it and like knocks the Indoraptor inside the building, but the Indoraptor dies because guess how it dies in this movie? The Indoraptor literally falls on top of the skull of a Triceratops and gets impaled by the horns, which I thought, ooh, that would be a rough way to go out. But at the end of the day, I did like this movie. It's not perfect. Okay, do I have any problems with the movie? Yeah. The CGI in the movie, while I do think it is better than the CGI in the previous movie, it's not the best. The ending, I will say, the ending of this movie is disappointing because this movie teases a sequel, and I'm telling you, the idea and concept that this movie pitches for a sequel is a really good idea. Unfortunately, it was not executed well with Jurassic World Dominion, which I was not a fan of. And my final negative to the movie is the plot twist of the whole plot twist of the little girl that decides to team up with Owen and Claire that they have to protect. The whole twist of her being a clone I thought was dumb, but overall, I do like this movie for what it is. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom a 7 out of 10. So yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching my review. And yeah, I will review the other two movies at some point, but I think first I'm going to review some other stuff. But anyways, that's the end of this review. But yeah, I'm going to get ready for bed because it's like, it's a little after 8:20 at night and I got to get up early for work in the morning. So I'll either upload this video tonight or sometime tomorrow after work. But yeah, we'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.